You can research it later on your free time. Anytime you hear someone say something that you don't agree with, or maybe you learned it differently, you could always research it on your own time. A lot of times when someone is taking the time and energy, time and energy to come online or utilize their platforms, whatever their platform is, and they're sharing information, it's because, or I would hope it's because they have studied it or they know what they're talking about. Does everybody who's talking know what they're talking about? No. Everybody does not know what they're talking about, but people will share based off of their experiences, based off of, just kind of where they live and how things are where they are. But the world is huge. And the reality is that there are things that we don't know. There's information that we don't have. And so, here, let me give you an example. One of the best testimonies that I hear online, like one of my favorite testimonies, is when I listen to someone who is either a Muslim or an atheist or a Buddhist or whatever, someone who rejected Jesus, and they say, I came across a video and I was challenged to, on my own time, do the research. And they drew a conclusion that what this person was sharing was the truth. Maybe they didn't like hearing it, or maybe, it wasn't explained in a way that made sense, and so they had to search it, whatever it was. For instance, I've heard people say, all these years, I was just being told something and I wasn't really doing the research. I was believing what I was being told because people I loved told me. So, for instance, if you read, from the author Nabil Qureshi, he will say that he had a love and devotion to Islam and Allah because he wanted to know God. He was genuinely wanting to be a servant of the one true God. And his family that he loved was raising him in Islam. And when he was younger, he would memorize passages. You can memorize passages and not even realize what you're saying. And so that's what happened. When he was older, he was challenged by someone who was very patient and long-suffering with him. And if you read the book, you'll hear, the dialogue and conversations that they had, and there were many objections that were raised. But ultimately, the goal of the person that was sharing with Nabil the truth, that person's goal was to point to Jesus. It was to say, this God that you are seeking, you are close because you're looking, but where you're looking is wrong. The information you've been given is incorrect. This is who God is. And he was pointing Nabil to Christ. And so Nabil would later come to know the Lord. And he even talks about dreams that he had. And I believe his testimony. There are people who don't. That's okay. I believe his testimony, and his testimony ultimately leads to him using his platforms and his voice to trumpet that Jesus is the only way before Nabil passed away. He did pass away from cancer, but before he did, this is his testimony, and he shares it with the world. He's written books, I've read them, and I accept his testimony. And so someone like him who really believed they were in the truth, but they weren't, came to realize the truth. And he did heavy research. It's like, how was I quoting these verses from the Quran and they were wrong? Or not that they were wrong, but they were contradicting to the book, and they were to go to the people of the book. So I say all that to say, whatever it is that you hear online, some people, they get so frustrated because they see things over and over and over again. But please understand, we're living in a time when people are being challenged by the videos they come across. And for some, they're like, oh, online is not real life. You need to be living life. We are living life. Every day people are living life, but they know that so many people are online right now. Ever since the pandemic, people have been online in great numbers, and so many people have come to do the research for themselves because of videos that they've come across, because of posts that they've come across. Not everybody is going to post. Not everybody's going to put up videos. But those who do post and those who do put up videos are doing it for the sake of those who maybe have not heard those arguments. Maybe they're in an area where they have been listening to someone pouring into them that was wrong. And so one day they come across a video and it challenges them. And so on their free time, they go and do the research. And it's usually in that study time, researching because this person's genuinely a seeker, that they're gonna find the truth. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. So I don't think that people should stop using their voices online. What I do think is that people on their free time should go do the research and go and check to see if what people are saying are true. And you will come to realize that people who do utilize online and utilize their platforms to keep talking and talking and talking have purpose behind it. And people are really being challenged and lives are being changed and many are coming to the truth, who is Jesus.